What's going on, you guys? TBR here, back yet again with another King of Fighters All-Star video, and we're gonna party like it's 7 months ago, because in today's video we are going to be taking a look at the buffs to Boss Syndrome Krizalid, a character that I pioneered here on this channel upon his release and was very hype on whenever he was initially dropped in the game, a character that was at the tippy top of the Guild Raid meta at some point. However, he did fall off just a little bit with a lot of these new character releases. However, he is back at the top of the mountain, I am glad to say, and in today's video we are going to revisit this character. I'm going to show you guys some runs in Guild Raid and show you just what these buffs have done for his performance, and spoiler alert, he is ridiculous. But before we get into all of that and more, make sure if you guys haven't already done so and you enjoy daily King of Fighters All-Star content such as this, that you smash that like button and subscribe. And if you haven't been here before, you probably don't know what time it is, so allow me to remind you, cue the intro. Alright, you guys, so, as you are all probably aware, we have 4 of our previous Boss Syndrome characters that have been re-released recently, Krizalid being one of them. All of these characters got buffed, and so we are going to go ahead today and take a look at Krizalid and talk about his buffs, because this is a character that, while he has always been extremely powerful for Omega Rugal in Guild Raid, this is now a character that has hit a new high when it comes to his damage output, and it all has to do with one core in particular, but we're going to talk about all that, and then I'm going to show you guys some Guild Raid runs. However, I want to point something out with this character that's going on right now, and I kind of wanted to just throw this in here at the beginning, and I want you guys to comment below and let me know if you've noticed this happening. This is something that I have repeated numerous times, unfortunately, playing with this character and trying to play test, but for whatever reason, at a certain point, for no reason whatsoever that I can discern, you guys let me know if this has happened to you and if you can figure out what triggers it, but basically randomly at one point or another he'll stop applying Starlight on his S2 and stop doing damage with it in general, and it completely and utterly will ruin your run. I don't really know why that happens. I've noticed that it tends to happen on his awakening rotation. I don't know if it's because I'm hitting S2 and S3 really fast and the game can't keep up, because the game doesn't like really fast skills, and it doesn't tend to like a lot of multi-hits, I've noticed, when it comes to some of these weird bugs. So you guys can let me know if this is something you've noticed. I haven't seen Netmarble acknowledge this anywhere. However, they tend to have so many bugs and issues that it's hard for me to keep up. So, but I wanted to go ahead and point that out. So if you guys are using this character and you notice this bug, you're not alone. This is kind of something that's really weird to me that I haven't noticed before. Maybe it's been a part of this character's kind of kit or whatever for a while, and it's been a problem for a while and they just haven't gotten around to fixing it, but I've never noticed it, so it tends to be one of those things where I kind of get the feeling that this just happened after the buff. But you guys can let me know if this is something you've noticed. I just had noticed this when I was trying to get footage together, which was a nightmare. So yeah, guys, just something I wanted to throw in here. So when it comes to Krizalid, I'm not going to get into all of the nitty-gritty details with this character, because we've already done a spotlight video on this character in the past. Instead, what I want to go ahead and do here is I want to highlight what they changed and why this character has become so much more powerful than he already was. So in order to do that, we're going to have to go ahead and take a look at the cores. We're going to scroll down here and we're going to talk about one core in particular, which is going to be part of owner of point 70599. So of course the core I'm referring to is going to be decreasing the active skill cooldowns by 0.5 seconds when attacking targets affected by darkness or starlight, and this is something that is completely new. This is a whole new line of text in his cores, and it is absolutely absurd when it comes to this character's performance. As you guys are going to see in the footage, even sped up, you are going to be able to notice that basically what you can do with this character now on his awakening rotation is you can basically go in and have no cooldowns whatsoever, and you can just spam your S2 and your S3 and do tons and tons of damage very quickly. Now when it comes to Krizalid, this has always been a character that's able to do a lot of damage and a lot of multi-hits very quickly. His shield shred is phenomenal and always has been. It's some of the best shield shred in the game. I'm not even using hyperbole there. This is a character whose shield shred is so consistent, it's crazy. However, really with this character, his biggest issue was his his damage did not scale anywhere near as much as some of the newer options since his release, meaning basically this character was power crept, which, you know, it's kind of par for the course when you're part of the King of Fighters All-Star, but I digress. In general, this is a character that needed some help in this regard, and thanks to this core, he is able to do that even without just straight up buffing his damage numbers in general. So this is going to be something that is going to be of the utmost importance for this character's performance. We had theorized whenever we had done that breakdown on those update notices that this was going to be extremely OP on him, and of course here we are a day after the buffs have been dropped live in the game, and you guys have probably already seen a lot of footage out there, but this character can do work now. So very nice to see that they have given him some love. Makes sense considering the fact that Manager Kiki, or Manager Krizalid, whatever you want to call him, is a Krizalid super fan, so it would figure that he would give his favorite character some love. But in general, you guys, this core is the big reason why this character is going to be so much better in performance than he already was. Again, this is a character that was already extremely good, but he's only gotten better now. So that's something I wanted to go ahead and point out there, you guys. So another thing that I want to go ahead and point out here on Cutting Edge, you guys are going to notice that there was another buff here. There's actually a couple that we'll talk about briefly, although they're nowhere near as important as the one we just referred to. But on Cutting Edge here, they did go ahead and do some quick changes to the numbers here. So basically, you are going to be able to notice that you are going to be dealing additional damage equal to 120% as opposed to 80% before. So before the buff it was 80%, now it's 120% of your attack to all enemies when attacking targets affected by darkness or starlight. This is extremely important for his overall mobbing. This basically means that now in things such as time attack and so on and so forth, you're going to be dealing just that much more of that damage to everybody on the screen at one time. That is very, very important, and something that is going to help his overall ability to clear mobs as quick as possible. And then when it comes to anything else in this kit, there was one other buff which we're going to have to go to the skills for. We're going to go to the S1 here. So basically with the S1, before the buffs, his penetration increase was set at 1,000, and now it is going to be at 1,500. So basically they did go ahead and spot him an extra 500 penetration. So in general, that is only going to help the damage numbers just that much more. But when it comes to Krizalid, you guys, this is a character I'm sure a lot of people out there are very high on at the moment. With this character, he's always been kind of in an interesting spot because he is a character that is pretty much predicated on grabs, and that is typically something that is a death knell for most characters in the game. Just look at, I don't know, the Fess Yashiro that's been in the game since the beginning and is wildly considered the worst character in the game. But when it comes to grab skills, they don't have to mean that a character is complete trash. Krizalid is going to be the glowing example of that. You really just look for the fact that these characters, can they still output the maximum amount of damage possible for their kit, and can they still do well when it comes to things such as shield shred, multi-hits, so on and so forth. And thankfully this character can do so. There's a lot that goes into it, but really with this character, he's able to supersede any sort of drawbacks that he might have. A lot of these characters usually exhibit when it comes to being grab based, and he's able to absolutely do work. This is a character right now that, in my opinion, thanks to these buffs, is near the top of the meta, just based on the fact that he is going to be extremely strong for so many things, and he's going to be a character that is going to hard carry you if you're new and you don't have a lot of these previously released characters. And like I mentioned in yesterday's video, if you're ever planning on pulling for any of these characters ever, like basically consider this the last time they're ever going to come back, even though they'll probably come back again down the road, in my opinion, this is the time to pull for them. So definitely something to consider, especially if you're missing these characters or if you're somebody that just needs memories. You can't really beat the fact that we have a rate up, but we also have better summoning rates in general, and we also don't have any characters besides these characters in the pool, so you don't have any spoiler characters, any off-banner fests, whatever the case may be. So in general, if you're planning on pulling for any of these, like I said yesterday, now's the time to do it, and I highly recommend Krizalid. Like I said, Igna's, in my opinion, like I told you guys yesterday, probably going to be just the best of all of them as far as his utility is concerned, but when it comes to Krizalid here, this is a character that's definitely in a good spot. So with all that being said, you guys, I've talked a lot about why this character is so powerful, so now what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go ahead and throw it over to some in-game footage. I'm going to show you guys a run in Expert difficulty and Lunatic difficulty against Omega Rugal and show you guys just how easy it is to solo one key with this character in both of those. So we're going to go ahead and get to the footage, and then I'll see you guys on the other side. Enjoy. Well, there you have it, you guys. The performance test for the newest buffs for Boss Syndrome Krizalid. So as I've already told you guys, I highly recommend that you pull on this banner if you're somebody that needs these characters. These are all going to be characters that are going to offer different values depending on what in-game mode we're talking about, and in general, all of them are very powerful in their own right, but Krizalid is definitely near the top. For those of you who are wondering what my build is, of course that is going to be the cards that I used in those previous runs that you just saw, and then when it comes to my imprint stones, these are going to be the ones that I have here, so that way you guys know exactly what I'm working with. I don't have optimal stones on my Krizalid, as you guys are probably well aware. I also don't have optimal build outs on my cards, and I'm still able to put up huge numbers solo with this character, so it should give you guys out there a lot of hope as far as what you'll be able to get out of him if you're building him up. But this is a character, as I've always said, you guys, from the beginning, I've been very high on. In fact, I got a lot of jokes back in the day that this channel had turned into a Krizalid channel at one point because I had done so many videos on how good this character could be, but in general, I figured in today's video I'd try to keep all my thoughts and all my gushing to just this one. But you guys, I do really like this character. I've always really liked this character, and I like him just that much more post-buff. He is going to be extremely potent as a damage dealer in guild raid against Omega Rugal, and in general is also going to yield you some really good results in other parts of PvE. And while he isn't perfect, he is going to be a character that is going to cement himself as one of the top overall Boss Syndrome characters in the game, which is a really nice position to be in. So at the end of the day, you guys, that is going to be my opinions on Boss Syndrome Krizalid's buffs. I hope you all found it informative. As always, if you guys did, make sure you smash that like button and subscribe. And until the next video, you all take care. Peace.
Continue. Game over.